Have to record that?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just wondering how that pledge would change if Hillary gets elected. Okay. Meeting minutes? You're on.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of September 20th, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Reer?
Aye.
Commissioner Swearing?
I don't think you were here, were you?
Okay.
Was this the 16 too?
What's that? This is the 20th.
Can you come back? You just right. Please look for the 16th. Oh, for the 20th.
20th,
I thought you said the 16th. I got you.
And
It'd be the end of the world.
And then the second one, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of September 27th, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Reer?
Aye.
Commissioner Swearing?
Aye.
And Commissioner Claypool?
Good morning.
Good one.
Financials for this week, we had a cash transfer from the Emergency Management Fund to the Building Improvement Fund for facility improvements. Under the encumbrances, we have a travel encumbrance for Auditor's Office, JFS, a purchase order of $22,188.50 to Junction Auto for the purchase of a 2016 Ram ProMaster cargo van for the Maintenance Department, a contract for $25,150 with Geauga Mechanical for the DES Central Plant Control Replacement. In the vouchers, we have a payment of $20,000 to the Geauga County Agricultural Society for 2016 funding, a payment of $20,021.70 to Vista Solutions for the Common Police Court for their annual maintenance and support contract for their imaging, a payment of $353,566.47 to Roniak Paving for the engineering for road resurfacing, and a payment of $141,488 to Whitworth Bus Sales for the Transit Capital Fund for 2 new buses. We have a revenue certification for mental health and for the Community Development Block Grant Fund. Any questions on the financials?
Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute Resolution 16-140, itemizing the financials for the meeting of October 13th, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Reer?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Swearing? Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner's Office will report on the items approved October 6, 2016 by the County Administrator, authorized by Resolution 16-097 under the direction and supervision of the County Commissioners that was approved July 12, 2016 pursuant to ORC 305.30.
Yeah, this is an item singular, this is a biggie. Service contract agreement for maintenance with Absolute Septic Pumping LLC to perform grease removal and maintenance of the Safety Center grease trap septic tank for 3 years, 2016, 17, 18, in an amount not to exceed $3,000.
Cool. Mr. Prosecutor?
Come on.
It's quick.
Morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Morning.
Good.
How are you? Feeling better?
Yeah.
Somebody's hanging out.
It's a similar answer. I could answer that the same way.
Okay, so I'm back. You guys tabled the request. I don't know if you had time to talk to Tim Reed so I think's been advising you on this matter.
We have. So,
So what do you want to do?
we'll, I don't know whether you wanna mention if there needs to be any discussion. The discussions that I've had with him, and actually it's been Jim Budzik, you know Jim?
Mm-hmm.
With them in their office apparently, Mr. Reed has been off an issue, but the approval, the recommendation, even though there was some thought that it wasn't necessary, was to go ahead and approve the attorney through the hearing process. There doesn't appear statutory reason beyond the hearing process, so through the hearing process. If the other two members are amenable to that, then that's, I think, what we're gonna do.
I think that, you know, I got an opportunity to talk to Tim Reed directly after the meeting, because it left me with a lot of unclarities as far as when we, you know, sat down with him and went through all of this. Never were we advised that this was a situation that would have developed into this. I think bottom line is we had, I'm not gonna say bad advice, but I don't think we received the full picture of what our options were, or what the, you know, repercussions were going to be as far as the whole appeal process, or the possibility for appointment of special counsel and all of this. So, you know, I pretty much, you know, regurgitated this since last week. And I can tell you that my position on this is that I'm a little bit agitated with the fact that the right thing was to, you know, remove both of these parties, because of the fact that I think that if you look at the situation, it's pretty evident that something, you know, should have been done. I would hope that they would have just, you know, stepped down with what's at play. So as far as, I gotta put two hats on, and I gotta look at this as what's fiscally sound and responsible, and what's the, you know, what other options are there to do, and looking at the situation that both of these parties are gonna be up very shortly as far as their appointment, that I can assure that I would never, you know, move to appoint either one of them back onto that role because of, you know, this past history. But my position is this thing could turn into an absolute money pit, and you know, and I think that you would probably agree it could, and I think that at this point in time, I would rather move to send the message that, you know, we've been made aware of what's going on there. Taxpayers know, because a lot of them have come to us to say something needs to be done, but it is to be fiscally sound and responsible for tax dollars. I think that my position would be is to rescind the motion and move to just rescind our motion of dismissal, and just get this to the point where we can get back on track and take the fiscally responsible position. I think that we've sent a message. I don't know what the other people agree with or don't.
I mean, we have to vote yes if we're gonna continue down this path to hire counsel, because it's the law. If we don't, then Jim will go across the street to the county police court, and then they'll file some kind of, I don't know, legal jargon, but they'll file something that says we're not doing our job. So we have to do that. I've never been, from day one, in favor of this, because the level, as I see it, we have other people on that board that are as guilty of some of these charges as some of the ones, and now it looks like it's, I don't know, you're singling someone out. And I think I said the last time this was at this table, that the problem will sort itself out shortly. I believe the newspaper there was an article that said their term, one of the papers, expired in 2021, which I don't think is correct. I think it's next June. Isn't it the end of June or something like that? And time this thing comes to a head, you're looking at 8 months. I don't know what the cost per month will be to get them out earlier, but it's going to be more than I make.
Let's base this on some reality here. First of all, what we spent on an attorney on our side is what we've spent so far. It's a few hours for consultation in terms of how to proceed with this. Going into the hearing process, after the hearing process is over with, that legal fee will end. So we basically have already spent what we're going to spend, with the exception of the process going into the hearing process.
Who's
There-
is a lawyer telling you that the legal fees will end, or are you saying this?
No,
I wanna,
this is an attorney telling you.
okay, because I don't agree with his assessment, by the way.
Okay.
Did he tell you that they would have the opportunity to appeal an administrative ruling to common police court, take an administrative appeal?
What he told me was that there's no statutory process to take this beyond the hearing. There is nothing in the state law that.
He doesn't believe that they could take an administrative appeal to common police court?
He doesn't, that's what he told me, yes.
Okay.
And so, and with the exception.
I wish he was here.
With the, well, me too. We can call him up, and maybe we can have an executive session, and we can have that conversation with him. That would be, I would love to have that. But let's assume for a sec, for the sake of the argument, that he's correct, that we're gonna go into a hearing process. What I was told yesterday was that if we approve this, number one, we're not paying for it. This is coming out of the mental health board budget. Granted, the taxpayer's gonna pay for this. But there is an obligation on the part of this office to do our duty with respect to those things in the law that we're required to uphold. It is very clear in the bylaws in the Ohio Revised Code with one individual that if you don't meet certain situations, that they are required, the mental health board, which they have never done, to notify this office to vacate that position. We should have used the term vacate rather than remove, because that's what the law indicated that we have the right to do, and I think has a different legal basis. But once we go into the hearing process, which we're going to be, if we stay on that track, we'll be sending out the letter probably for next week to go through the hearing process. And at that point in time, if he's correct, and in one case, the law is crystal clear on our right to be able to vacate one of those seats. There is no ambiguity. We have a right to do that. And the mental health board had an obligation to tell us about that situation. And we need to inform the mental health board of their legal obligations in that matter. So that going forward, they're doing what they're supposed to do. The reason we are here is because there are some things going on in the mental health board that they're not doing properly. It is our duty to make sure that board is performing properly. We put people on that board to ensure that. If that's not happening, then it's our job to correct that. So anyway, that's relative to the budget and to the financial side of this. What I've been told is that there is no statutory purpose beyond, this is an administrative action, not a legal action. We have a right administratively to deal with this administrative situation with these people. And then beyond the hearing is where it should end. Now, I'd love to have Jim have a conversation with Jim Budzik and or Tim to confirm that, because that would maybe alter the situation here. But again, my understanding is this will end with the hearing process. Once we've made a determination in the hearing, it is what it is then at that point in time.
My conversation with Tim Reed was different than that, because I specifically asked that question. So I don't know, I haven't talked to Budzik, I don't know who he is. So I talked to Tim Reed directly after we got done. I had a conference call with him and Dave Blair in the office, and I specifically asked him, where does this go as far as this? And basically, I point blank asked him, I said, if they don't like what they say there, do they connect? And he said yes. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I know that what Tim Reed said to me was now all of a sudden, yeah, with that this can go on. And you know something? I am not really I am not going to see a muck of money like what the mental health board spent on us making simple public information requests. I think what needs to happen is the general public needs to wake up and see what the mental health board and what that mental health department is actually doing with the money that they're paying into the levy, when it should be going to support the cause and the needs for mental health, but rather it's playing games like this. And I'm not in a position to put tax money, ahead again, to be able to start another legal process to basically, throw a whole bunch of money away to a legal thing. And my position on this is I would ask to put a motion forward to say, we rescind this, June will be here before you know it, and it's done. And I think that message has been sent. The public has been made aware of the improprieties that they have, that there are in that department, that I have been preaching from the probably the second year that I've been here as commissioner, and it needs to get straightened out. But ultimately, we cannot be the fix-all to everything. Their board needs to take action where it needs to take action. I think they need to pull up their bootstraps and get to work and create the right direction for that department that I think I know what I would do. But at the end of the day, I think that my position on this is I would make a motion to rescind that and move to rescind that.
That
That's
creates,
your motion?
that creates one problem for this board. Because we have a legal obligation under their bylaws to take action on one individual. We can't avoid that legal obligation.
Now, who says you have a legal obligation?
Read Ohio Revised Code and the bylaws on the paragraph on,
Well, I know there's attendance requirements, but
There is an attendance requirement.
That obligates you to act through an administrative process? I missed
That
that section of the revised code.
If you read that paragraph, it says that the board shall notify this. That doesn't mean that they have an option there. They shall notify this board for us to take some action. So we either have to say, yes, we're gonna take action, we're not gonna take action, whatever the case is. We sent out a letter now indicating we wanted to vacate that seat based on attendance schedule. And by the way, it is irresponsible for us to have somebody on that board that is not showing up for meetings. Their purpose in appointing people for that board is to be there. We've got a vulnerable group of people we're making decisions for. And if we don't have people who are stepping up and doing the responsible thing on that board, it's the obligation of this board to make a corrective action on that. I'll make a second or a counter suggestion, because all the information that
I
I've
have
got.
a motion on the table. I haven't seconded it, but, because you started to talk, but if Mr. Spitaleri has made a motion to rescind our action from the, whatever meeting that was, 2 meetings ago, or I don't have the date. If he's making a motion to rescind that action, I will second that.
Okay, then we can have discussion. And so, continuing in the discussion mode, I'm gonna make a amendment to that motion.
Wait
That-
a second.
Mhm.
There's a motion on the floor. You can discuss the motion on the floor and act on it, then you can entertain.
I can discuss an amendment, we can amend that motion.
All right.
So, another alternative to simply voiding this action is to, we're basing this decision based on misinformation and misalignment of facts. Let's get our 2 attorneys together, because what I've been told is this, from a legal cost standpoint, this is not, it is where it is. We've already incurred some legal fees. It's not gonna be much more than that. And the legal fees from the hearing perspective are gonna be nominal, a few $100s probably, because.
And just, I'm not advising you guys on this.
No, I
It sounds like you have 2 different lawyers who've given you 2 different pieces of advice.
Well, and I'm surprised by that, because they're talking.
I mean, in my opinion, as a lawyer, I think what Tim Reed told Ralph is correct, and what Jim Budzik apparently told you is incorrect, but that's just my opinion. Like, I'm sure any lawyer will tell you that with most of these legal questions, especially in more uncharted waters, which is where I think you're going with this, you get 5 lawyers in here and you're gonna get 5 different answers. So I don't know that there's a right answer until a
But
judge tells you.
the challenge I have with this, Jim, is those 2 guys are supposed to be working together. Jim is filling in for Tim in the situation, and Jim told me yesterday he was talking to Tim. And so, at the end of the day, we're gonna be making a quick decision based on maybe misinformation. I'd rather have all the information to make a sound decision on it.
Before
So-
you came here, Skip, our predecessors, not at this table, but one like it, and I mean before you came to the county, our predecessors took umbrage or an exception with Mr. Simmons, who was then the sheriff of the county, and I don't have an accurate number, in excess of $1 million. I mean, I heard as high as 2, but it's an urban legend. I know it was in excess of 7 figures, was spent, and the attorneys that were involved smiled graciously, and the taxpayers in the county got the dirty end of the stick. And I don't see, outside of some personal gratification, what the advantage is to having this fight when it can resolve itself without cost in June, and with regard to the fact that something wasn't done correctly. If we had time, we could find numerous things in the county that weren't necessarily followed to the letter of the law. Our responsibility is, when we find them, to point them out and correct those issues, not to rub someone's nose in it. It's just if there's been an omission, if there's been something like this, fine, bring it to their attention. If they don't follow the rules, then, well, shame on them. But as far as moving forward on this issue, I suggest we call the question.
Well, let me make one more comment before we do that. Again, the last person on this table who wants to spend a bunch of legal fees is me. And I'm told, based on what I've been hearing, that that the likelihood of that occurring is not that great. Because, again, we've already invested what we've invested. We've already used our attorney for counsel and so on and so forth. I'd love to hear what he has to say regarding Jim's comment, because, but...
Skip, I had Dave right there with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the specifics, but I don't remember him categorically saying that there's no way they could appeal that. So that would be, I mean, but that appears to be what you heard from Mr. Buzz.
Well, and you were there, you were on the phone with
Yeah.
Jim. And
Well, and that's
Jim,
what he, yeah.
Jim indicated, and again, this wasn't just me, you heard.
Yeah, I
because
heard
I had
that
you
too.
on a conference call.
I heard that too.
And he indicated that the hearing process would be the end of it, because there is no statutory mechanism to go forward out of the hearing. It is an administrative action. We probably shouldn't be at this table based on what Tim originally told us, because this is an administrative action, not a legal action. And so we've turned it into a legal action for some reason. But, if we're making a decision without all the information, I'll go along with you two if you want to just pull the plug on this. But it's unfortunate, because we do have a duty to ensure that things are done properly, and we're just avoiding
Well,
our
to
responsibility.
that point, if I could, I'm reading this section that's applicable here, this 34002, in that last paragraph that I think was in the letter. And it says, upon absence of a member within 1 year from either 4 board meetings or from 2 board meetings without prior notice, the board shall, that's the mental health board, shall notify the appointing authority, which they didn't do.
That's right.
The final thing is, the appointing authority then, which may vacate the appointment and appoint another person. So it's not a legal requirement that you do so. You may, but you're not somehow missing your legal responsibility if you don't. I just wanna make sure
That's
everybody's clear on
a true statement.
Yeah.
And nobody so far, other than the individual in question, has missed the requisite 4 meetings. We've got some people that are on the verge of that, so we need to send notice to the mental health board about that situation. But that gives us the opportunity, the law is clear that we can remove one individual because they haven't attended the necessary meetings. And why is that important? Is that because we want to rub their face in it? No. It's because we need good people on that board who are gonna show up for the decision process. We have vulnerable people that they're making decisions on. If we don't have people showing up for meetings, those vulnerable people are not getting good decisions. I've got a concern about that. It's our responsibility to ensure that we have got responsible people on these boards making good decisions, and that they show up for meetings to make those decisions. And that the decisions that they're making or those things that they're doing, I mean, with the other individual, there's some real concerns that I have over some of the decisions that this person is making and defending on that board. And so we do have some responsibility there. If we want to step aside and kind of poo-poo that, then fine. But
I mean, I just gotta tell you, I really, I'd love to get your permission to talk to Jim Budzik, because I mean, I'm looking at revised code 20, I just pulled
Oh,
up.
you certainly have my permission.
2506.01, appeal from an agency or of political subdivisions. Every final order, adjudication, decision of any officer, tribunal, authority, board, bureau, commission, department, or any other division, political subdivision of this state may be reviewed by the Court of Common Pleas of the county in which the principal office of the political subdivision is located. I mean,
So,
the administrative appeal section of the revised code is so broad. I mean, that covers everything.
So let me ask you this, because I don't know. I'm not an attorney, and I don't understand all that. I have to lean on.
Again, I'm not advising you on this.
No, I
I'm
understand.
not giving you legal advice
But,
on this. I'm just.
but what you just read is if in a legal situation, there is a finding, we can take that to the
This
court.
is,
This
it's
is
an
not a legal.
administrative proceeding. You have to afford somebody due process rights. They hold a position on a board.
Mhm.
They hold a public office in the county. You, through an administrative process, are going to remove them from that board, from that, and take something away from them. They have the right to appeal that to court.
What have we taken?
It's called, I thought you had
What-
the Constitution all over your office. It's
Of
called
what-
due process.
Of what value, though? I mean, I'd love to, reach out to Jim, because I'd love to.
The issue here, when I first came on the commissioners, there was an action taken, which I disagreed with. And I still think constitutionally I'm correct. And we hired an attorney, and we proceeded with this issue until it became obvious that we didn't have the votes anymore to prevail. And that issue had generated some tax dollars to be spent on legal fees. I was really upset by that. And I instructed the finance director and the administrator that when that bill from that lawyer came in, I was to get it. And who's counting, but it was $3,305 out of my pocket, but nobody's keeping track. And I wrote the check, personal check, to pay the attorney so that I didn't incur a debt that the taxpayers had to pay. That's not a hooray for me, that's more a, when a lot of times when we make a bad decision, someone pays for it, but it's not us. I think this is a bad decision going forward. I thought it was a bad decision for the, whatever number is, 34,000 total or something that was spent of taxpayer money, regardless of whether it came from mental health or it came from the general fund. It wasn't my money, a portion was, or Ralph's money or Dave's money, it was our money. And I just think when you get burned, don't stick your hand back into the flame. Just, that's enough. And I had already called the question, so, and if you forgot what the motion was, I think Ralph made the move to rescind that action and move on, or something along that line. Is that correct?
Yep.
I don't want to speak for you.
First of all, should we read the motion on the agenda to be either approve or disapprove of the
No, I'm gonna,
appointment?
if they pass this, I'm gonna withdraw the
You're gonna
request,
withdraw, okay.
because it'll be moved.
Okay, the previous motion was to approve and execute letters to Mr. Season and Mrs., is it Rendazzo? Okay, notifying them that the Board of County Commissioners will be removing them from their position. So
The
we're not
motion here
really-
is an action to rescind that.
we're rescinding, weren't the letters already sent?
Yes,
So we're not rescinding the motion to send letters.
that's true.
Rescinding the board action to remove those two members.
Yes.
And we can send out letters advising.
Somebody with more education than I needs to word that properly, but,
Debbie's doing great.
that's
Okay,
great.
so-
Well, she's got more education than I do, so.
This isn't over. Let me finish.
Oh, wow! Now you tell me, Sunny.
Okay, so the Commissioner's Office, let me see, is requesting the board to rescind?
Rescind the action.
Rescind the action to remove Mr. Season and Ms. Randazzo from their positions of Geauga County Mental Health and Recovering Service Board. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay.
And we have a motion and a second.
Second, okay, and then,
Aye.
okay.
Aye.
Okay.
No.
Well, based upon the board action, then I will rescind the request to appoint for the appointment of outside legal counsel for those board members. So, I thank you. I don't like being stuck in the middle of this stuff. And as a taxpayer, I appreciate your comments, Ralph. The easy thing sometimes is to fight, and the hard thing sometimes is to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. So I do appreciate your comments.
Tim, do me a favor and reach out to Jim for future reference, so that as we're trying to think through these decisions in the future.
Yeah, if you guys are okay with
It
me
would
talking
be,
to them.
yeah, I'd love to, because we need to make decisions based on real information, good information. I do not think we made a good decision today based on good information. We should have gotten back to the attorneys to get good information, because we do have a duty and a responsibility to do the right thing, and I think we avoided that today. We don't have a spine sometimes, and sometimes you have to spend some money to do the right thing, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be happy to talk to Jim. I mean, Jim's a very good lawyer when it comes to employment issues. We've consulted with him in our office on a couple of pretty tricky employment issues that have come up. I mean, he's a good lawyer. But concluding that they wouldn't have had administrative appeal rights to county
Yeah,
police court
I'd love to
is
hear-
bizarre to me personally. But
I'd love to hear,
I mean, I
you know,
think
what
what
the outcome of that is.
Tim told you, Ralph, is, I would agree with, so. And, you know, that could have been a pretty hefty bill at that point. Because you could appeal that all the way up to the Ohio Supreme Court.
again, I was basing my decision based on what I was hearing, and I'd love to hear if it's something different, because, you know, again, that could come into future decisions, so.
Yeah, I'll call Jim today.
I can
Okay.
do that.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
good day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Jessica, how are you?
I'm great. So I'm here this morning to approve the placement of Adam Van Boxel, our in-home services supervisor on paid administrative leave. That was effective October 6th. We are having a disciplinary hearing on Monday. However, we did conduct an audit, which kind of resulted in a disciplinary hearing. So it was best for him to be placed on administrative leave until the hearing is complete.
Department on Aging is requesting the board approve the placement of Adam Van Boxel, in-home services supervisor on paid administrative leave effective October 6th, 2016 until further notice.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Morning, Kelly.
here to request, for the notice of award for the RFP for Peterson Construction for the project at the Geauga County Airport under BF 14. Same project that had come in front of you previously because the bids came in too high, so I put it back out to bid, we downscaled the project. And now we have a good proposal, good bid, and Peterson was the lowest and the best for the project.
What is it with doors? I mean, every time we go out for bids for doors, the bids come in too high.
Well, funny thing is that.
Yeah, then
this
when
is
we
just
bought
the
them, they were
entry rate.
less, right?
Yeah, right. Well, the maintenance project, when we did the second bid on that, it came within, the first time it didn't. It's all timing. And I think, we had this discussion previously, without getting into too much, I think it's the seasons. when
Like
they go
missing
into
a
bid.
sale at the grocery store or something. I mean, I didn't have a coupon, so I had to pay full price.
Yeah. I think it's how hungry the contractors are that kind of bids it out.
Debbie,
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board award the RFP, request for proposal, Peterson Construction and Contracting Incorporated for the Geauga County Airport ADA entryway project under grant B-F-15-1AZ-1 in the amount of $32,052.57 as they represented the lowest and best proposal, and further approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the notice of award.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
The next one is after much searching, we finally found what we hope to be a good fit for our office as far as the office coordinator position. Jessica Lane, she is a young, smart girl with accounting background, and the programs that I need for help with the financial ends of the office as well as the secretarial experience as well.
Essentially, she'll replace where Donna was or
Yes,
something.
yes.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve hiring Jessica Lane to the position of Office Coordinator, number 1405, to be effective October 17, 2016, at the rate of $13.57 per hour with a one-year probationary period. This offer of employment is contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
you.
Have a
Bye-bye
nice
now.
day. Hi, Karen.
Greetings.
Were you abused?
Did you hear us talking about
I
this?
heard you talking about it.
She is so loyal, she injured her non-writing hand. I just want to point that out.
I've never had a broken bone before. I thought it would be a lot worse.
Hey,
I didn't go to the
That was on your
ER for a
bucket
whole
list,
day
right?
because I
Yeah.
thought, oh, this doesn't hurt that much. But,
Thought it
Oh,
would be
well.
worse.
And how did you?
well, I always pictured it to be excruciating, and it's not.
Depends
That's
on the
all I'm
bone,
saying.
probably. I'm just gonna go with
Yes,
that.
but I think of it more as extremely inconvenient, slowing me down, so I'll get better. It's not gonna take. This is a resignation of somebody that's moving out of state, so excellent employee. I couldn't have asked for somebody better. She's moving out of state. That's all this is.
County Home is requesting the board accept the resignation of Lee Stevens, part-time attendant, to be effective October 27, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Rea? Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
To increase the amount of positions, it's supposed to say move to 2 positions.
And for some reason, they changed it. I used to change it to 2 things.
I don't need 3. Today.
It's only 9:40.
So you want that too?
Well, if you want you can leave it 3 since it's written that way, but.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, there's no
probably-
obligation.
I'll probably end up telling you I don't need the position.
Well, then the board won't hire it for the person.
Okay, and I won't interview. Okay, that's it.
County Home is requesting the board increase the current posting for part-time attendant 1504-1 from 1 to 3 positions. These positions will remain posted until filled.
I make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Bye-bye.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Hey,
Great. It's been a while since I've been here.
Yeah.
Here. It
Here?
was only last week
I
since
know,
you were
over that
there.
room, but in front of,
Okay.
yes. Right, I've been in front of this illustrious body. Wow, probably 6 or 7 months.
I've been working out, but I wouldn't say it was an illustrious body.
So it's good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Number 11, here to hopefully get approved the final change order for our 2014 roof project. That's not a typo. Our project, it was kind of funny because I was going back and reviewing some of our notes, and I know time is precious, so I'll be quick. But we had tried, this was one of those projects that we said we're going to start early and get done. We're not going to wait till the last minute to get it done. And our notes started in January of 2014. We were trying to get everything done so we'd have it done in the summer. Because I don't like working on the roofs in the fall or winter. But for whatever reason, things came up, so the project actually didn't start until late September of 2014. The contractor did work very hard, building technicians, got it weather tight before the end of the year. Then we kind of had a hiatus there as the weather kind of came through. In 2015, we came back, did some minor stuff and flashing, some trim work, stuff like that. And as we wrapped up everything, they had a $50,000 contingency in the contract. Since nothing had come up, they were looking at the roof and said, this building has been added on over time. The original building dates back to 65, the administration building itself. They were actually, the project was covering the administration/school building and also our adult services building. The adult services building is pretty cut and dry. It was pretty much flat, no obstruction. It was kind of a fairly easy job. I didn't have to work on it, so I could say it was an easy job. I've done a little roofing, flat roof, so there's some of it touched down. The administration/school building has been added on to and has multiple roofs, different sizes. We've got flat roofs, we've got hip roofs, a lot of HVAC units in the way, so it's a little bit more complicated. But anyway, we had all that wrapped up, and it was thought, hey, there's some other areas here that we should put, I don't know the actual name of it. I always call it a silver coating because it's silver. We thought, hey, we might as well do that and have the entire roof done. We'll add 15 years. They're not leaking. So we were trying to get that done before the end of 2015. For whatever reason, that didn't happen. It got done in 2016, and then we started to have some leaks. So first we were going back and forth, and people were trying to find out where it was at, and I said, well, we're not going to pay these people until we find out what's going on. Found out eventually, after a lot of research and stuff like that, it was actually one of our HVAC units was collecting water and actually leaking into the building. So it wasn't the roof. We had people going all over the place, trying to pour water in different places. Nobody could figure out what was going on. So building technicians was off the hook. They got blamed at first, but that was not their problem. It was actually one of our old HVAC units that we want to replace. It was, like I said, it was collecting water. It was kind of, water would collect, and when it got to a certain level, it would kind of seep back into the building. So that mystery was solved. So hopefully that will be corrected soon. So now we're ready to finalize this project. I'm probably the second happiest person. I think the contractor getting their money finally is probably the happiest. But I can finally tell my board that we're done with it. So that's hopefully the short story.
So it's a decrease at the end.
It is a decrease, yes. The whole project was originally about $1 million. Everything came to about $945, so it's about $55,000 under budget. We kind of done something new. We bought our roofing material through the cooperative from the state to save some money, and then we had the labor contracted out. Then we have also had to move some of our HVAC units when we were moving around, so it was kind of an intricate project at some time, and a lot of people all in the same area. So, happy now. It looks very nice. We've got pictures. I should have brought
You
some
probably
pictures.
save money over just bidding the whole thing out and
Yes.
having them provide materials, because you save on materials.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the state cooperative is something that a lot of government agencies belong to, and you can, it kind of takes out some of the bidding price. The state does a.
State terms,
State
DAs.
terms, yes.
We buy a lot of stuff that way, right?
And it worked out pretty well. We were kind of, we thought maybe there might be some issues between somebody, not wanting people to just bid on the labor
Finger
itself.
pointing with it.
But it did work out pretty good.
Thank you.
The Board of Developmental Disabilities is requesting the board approve and execute contract maintenance form number 1, decreasing the contract with Building Technicians Corporation for the roof replacement project at Bessie Benner Metzenbaum Center, 2014 Adult Workshop and Administration Building in the amount of $16,720.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Blair?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Steve. Morning, Glenn.
Morning.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, pretty good, yourself?
He's checking this out like he's looking for
You got the snow plows on
Somebody
yet?
lost their hearing.
I
Trying to
did.
figure which one. Oh, you did? Oh, there you go.
Thank you for finding it.
Is there a reward?
What a guy.
You're checking out our hearing first.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Sure, wasn't yours, Glenn?
No, it wasn't mine. Oh, that broke it up a little bit. The first one is, it was a one-year probation. Hannah's been working with us, so according to the policy, it's a 6-month policy, requires a 6-month probation.
She's already been here.
Yes.
The Maintenance Department is requesting the board amend the motion from August 9, 2016, correcting the probationary period to read, approve the promotion of Hannah Gordon to the position of full-time office coordinator 1914 to be effective August 15, 2016, at the rate of $13.57 per hour with a 180-day probationary period.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier? Commissioner Claypool? So Glenn, just a question on that, okay, never mind, I got it.
On October 24th, I'm going to be probably jumping up for joy. We finally got these two. That'll bring me up to full staff where I should be. And I will be very excited. I think this will be the first time in probably 2 years. It's just been one thing after another, and after these 2 interviews, I think we'll have some very good candidates here.
We'll have a morning formation roll call and be able to say that they're all here at the same time.
It'll be nice to say all present.
Class
accounted
picture.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
class picture.
So that's what the 13 and 14 is.
Maintenance Department is requesting the board approve hiring Patrick E. Black to the position of maintenance worker 1904 to be effective October 24th, 2016, at a rate of $13.57 per hour with a 1-year probationary period. This offer of employment is contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions. And the Maintenance Department is requesting the board approve hiring Donald J. Wilk to the position of maintenance worker 1904 to be effective October 24th, 2016, at the rate of $13.57 per hour with a 1-year probationary period. This offer of employment is contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Question. How is the probationary period for the 2 different sections there, the office and the
She's a
worker,
current
so
employee.
different?
She's a current-
One's 6 months, one's a year.
Yeah.
Why is the difference?
Okay, she's already, the first one was already a county employee. She's been with us for
Thank you.
more than a year.
Answers
where
the question.
These two have not been.
This is a question, thank
Not a
you.
problem, sir.
And would you do me a favor and state your name for the record?
Walter Lagan.
Thank you.
A motion and a second, we need a roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
And Commissioner Claypool?
You guys have a good day. We'll see you at lunch.
Are you buying?
No, you are.
This is budget hearing today?
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
Oh, you didn't get the
Yeah.
notice?
What's that?
I'll have him call you after the meeting.
Come early and bring pizza.
Not a problem.
And he always pays for lunch for all his employees. You'd think he'd want. Okay. Mike, yeah, because this is just the quarterly refund of motor fuel tax that's paid when they buy the fuel, and then they have to turn around and file the claim in order to get the fuel tax, the motor fuel tax back. That's all this is.
Transit Department is requesting the board approve and authorize President of the Board to execute the Ohio Motor Fuel Tax refund claim for transit buses for the period July 1st, 2016 through September 30th, 2016 in the amount of $3,267.
I'll make that motion.
Just real quick, hey, Jerry, how do you do it with water resources with your trucks? Do you guys do this too, or no?
I don't know we're available for, we're eligible for this. I think this is because they're
Transit specific.
because they're
That's a good
transit
question.
specific
Yeah.
organization.
Okay, because I know with like the sheriff's vehicles, when you go to put fuel over at Burton Lumber there, you know, you put your card in and you know, it's like a 2-card system, but the taxes and all that stuff gets removed, because I'm always thinking to myself when I go and fuel up, I was like, well, I wish I could get this price when I come and pump gas, because it's quite a bit reduced, but I didn't know if you guys did the same.
We buy ours from Omen Oil. They deliver it to our fuel tank that's on our property.
I see.
And so when we pay them based on that reduced rate.
I see, okay.
So we're not buying it at the regular rate and getting it deducted.
Because transit is filling up where?
No, they have
Their own
fuel.
tanks.
That's bulk fuel too.
And they can't just buy it with
It's very
with the
nice.
price in place at the beginning, so we don't
Right.
have to do this all the time?
Yeah.
Who bet that theirs?
It
And
could
not
be-
all their usage, it may, I don't know if all of their usage would
You mean
qualify
like for
as.
their, well,
All the driving, all the miles that they run, are they all tax exempt, or is there an occasion where they run their equipment?
well, I think the gasoline vehicle is being fueled over at your place. Now they have their own gasoline because they have buses that are gasoline.
Right.
Before it was all diesel.
I wasn't sure, I just, because I know that
Good
you
question,
never approached us with that, and I just figured you were buying it, you know, without that.
Yeah, we don't buy it.
Cost in it,
We
I was
don't
gonna
go.
say,
yeah,
like,
we
if
we
they
don't go
could
to a
be-
gas station. They bring the fuel to us.
I'll
Right.
talk to
For as
Mike.
much
Yeah,
as-
I bet there's some transit-specific rule why it has to be done that way.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but yes.
No, we need a second, I know your motion.
Oh, second.
And then Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
And then Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
By the way, since the topic is transit here, Dave's gonna forward to you a link from NOAC, come on up, Jerry, on NOAC's most recent interest in extending transit to regional. They want to create a regional transit to give them access to our money for transit. And so they can't fund their own transit apparently. They don't know how to manage their money appropriately. And so now they're looking for ways to extend into a regional transit so they can suck dollars out of the surrounding communities.
And this is a carry-on from years ago. There was something called CTS, Cleveland Transit System. And you had Shaker Rapid was separate and was very efficient, very well run. There was some other Brecksville bus, I think there was some other bus, municipal bus company. And at some point, when they created the RTA and started getting sales tax money, they were all absorbed. And now, proponents of regionalism are pushing this idea, well, maybe we can just take over all the transit for all the 5 counties have RTA run all that, because they're also efficient.
Well, if they have a proposal for the interurban railroad, we could listen if we want, and then maybe we could give them the tax money if they put
Put the interurban back.
yeah, put the interurban back in so you could get in on it in or in Geauga.
One of the reasons the interurban went away, roads were built. The other issue, the interurban had a lot of bridges to cover the train out here, and that was a big maintenance issue. And reading this article,
That's their problem, not ours.
Yeah, well, there's some comments at the end kind of talking about the overall state of equipment maintenance that RTA maintains. And my question, do you want RTA to actually maintain equipment based on how they're doing on their own equipment? I'll forward that department to you.
First time I went to Geauga, first meeting I went to, I didn't know where it was or where to park or anything, and I ended up following Mary Samiti down. And she turned rather quickly, and I missed the turn, so I went around the block to come back in there. And as I went around the block, there was an RTA bus that had fallen through the street into a culvert right by Nowaka and was sitting on its frame. The tires were in the culvert, and the thing's sitting on its frame, and I'm going, yeah, they're doing a fine job down here.
Yeah, we're gonna do bike trails, but the roads are collapsing.
All right, Jay, you're on.
First item on the list here is a service contract with Process Control Services, also known as PCS, for some programming services at our McFarland plant, for operations within the plant, to control them from the computers. So that being the membrane plant, it's important for us to be able to have those all up and running at all times.
Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve, initial, and execute service contract agreement with PCS, Process Control Services, to perform 25 days of on-site PLC, HMI, SCADA programming services with the McFarland Wastewater Treatment Plant for the period September 1st, 2016 through August 31st, 2017, in an amount not to exceed $29,080, $7,270 quarterly.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Next item is a set of construction plans for Tom's Foolery Distillery. They're needing sewer service. They're building off of Rapids Road down in Troy. The sewer line we have right now ends, I think it's about 300 to 400 feet short of where they have their easement to go up through their property. So they need to actually extend our main line sewer that 300 to 400 feet. That portion will be in the 422 right away. Because it's in the 422 right away, we will then own that at the end. And then the remaining portion that runs up through the easement to their new facility will be the private service line, which they have commented that at some point in the future they may want to dedicate that to the county. Been told that they've been told that if they're going to do that, it needs to be built to our current county standards, inspected, and then when they did decide to turn it over, we would then video the line and make sure it's still in full operations shape. I do want to make it clear that when I reviewed and approved these plans, I did not have any samples from the distillery. So
I don't know, I'm looking at your signature and it makes me wonder.
it looks like that all the time. I blame that on
Should we be
I
questioning
blame that
that?
on the nuns wrapping my hands all this years in school.
Knuckles don't bend anymore.
Had that same problem.
They don't do that anymore.
No,
They do with rubber.
good
hoses down to the shell.
good thing for my daughters, they don't do it anymore.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board accept and approve the construction plans for Tom's Foolery Distillery for sanitary sewer construction only. The sanitary sewer will be installed to serve Tom's Foolery Distillery by the developer under the inspection of Water Resources personnel. The sanitary sewer located along State Route 422 will be turned over to the county for ownership, operation, and maintenance when the project is completed and the appropriate easements are granted.
So, I'm, and maybe I sound weird saying this, but what, I haven't, what is this project? This house?
It's a distillery that's being put in an area zoned for industrial, I guess, on Rapids Road. It's north of 422.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
North,
So kind of, okay, north of, okay.
yeah, there's industrial zone land up there that
So-
they've been talking about developing for a while, and that was the first project they.
So is this gonna be is this a big project? I mean, I'm glad, I'm
Yeah,
happy
I
to see this
think
as a.
currently, I believe the gentleman currently stores his, the distilled liquids or, yeah, in his garage in Bainbridge Township, and he was looking for a larger property to build warehouses, to basically store the whiskey while it is distilled.
They've been talking about this for years.
Yeah, he's been looking for a place for a number of years.
So is this kind of like where you see those tractor trailers kind of in the back or something, where you're coming up?
He's off of, no, the property actually fronts on Rapids Road. He
Okay.
had to obtain, actually, I think he purchased one of the properties to get the easement to run the sewer line up from 422 up to that property. But that property's always been in our two-way plan for the Troy Oaks area.
Okay. Huh, nice.
But he needed, in order to get to that easement, he needed, the main line needed to be extended 300 to 400 feet so that he could run that service line up.
So is this, how big is this facility gonna be?
Not sure exactly how big it was. Most of it right now is just gonna be warehouses. He does have some plans for a future of maybe having a tasting room or, a small restaurant or something along those lines.
I see.
That would all fall, he'd have to go through the zoning, those processes. But my understanding right now is his big thing is just, he just needs a warehouse to store his product while it's distilled.
I see. Okay. So I'll second that.
And Commissioner Rea? Commissioner Swear?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thanks, Jerry. Bye-bye now.
Come out here. Come on up. Replacing one PE with another PE.
How are you, Camille? Good, good.
Lee? Okay.
Three entities.
Three parties, yeah.
Should be three in that. They're not stable or anything, so, okay.
So this is the memorandum of understanding between planning, soil, water, and the commissioners that enables the application for the commissioners to be able to locally sponsor farmland preservation projects. The soil and water board signed it off this morning, and the planning commission signed off Tuesday night.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the third and final signature requirement.
Yeah, I just wanted to make mention, thanks for going through and getting this done. I know that, we had these conversations probably about almost 6 months ago or so, and I know nothing happens fast in government, but this is nice. My position on this is it's nice to be able to have you do this because ultimately we're accountable to the residents. If they don't like what you're doing, they can vote you out. And and we play by their rules, so I think that this is a good step for us to be able to do this, and I don't think that it's we're not in a position that we're soliciting to people, but I think that, there's certain level of the public that would feel more comfortable to go through and do this through us than somebody else, and at least we have now an option available to them to be able to do this, and I thank you for your, time and energy in this, and I know that, we had a number of meetings, and with the planning commission also, thank you to them, so I'm just, pretty happy that this has, been worked up and gone through, and you're going to be going to training also.
Yes.
So, that's great.
staff acting as a technical resource to you at your disposal.
And the biggest thing, it adds zero cost to the taxpayers, because you already have people in
A
place to
mechanism
do
in
this.
place, right.
So I think it just makes sense.
In contrast to some of the options, other options. And, you know, I also want to thank you. You know, I talked at length about this, and so I think this will bring a lot of value to the county in terms of offering some options that some other organizations that do this don't have. So, by the way, my middle name is not S. It does begin with an S, so I corrected that just for reference on legal documents.
Dr. Prosecutor.
Yeah, I want to recognize our clerk, Christine Blair, for picking up on the deadline that was approaching, and she got it all scheduled, and I want to especially compliment Carmela for the fast turnaround. She didn't have a whole lot of time to work on this, and did a great job
We did
getting
it,
it on.
group effort.
Yeah, I
Good
think
things happen when everybody works together, right?
Yeah, everybody works together.
And the planning commission too.
Yes,
I mean, outside the
yes.
other night, everybody was very
I
interested.
worked
in
pretty
this,
closely with
so
Laura LaChapelle, your legal counsel.
This was a true teaming effort across the county, so, and I'm sure going forward,
It
this
will
is not the end of it.
continue to
It's gonna continue to be a teaming effort. because,
Absolutely. Everything will be-
The interesting thing about this is now the commissioners are the sponsor, you're acting
Right.
as our agent.
Right, you will be
And,
the easement holder, and
And so now that kind of provides a little umbrella protection for those people who are part of this program. We already have 3 properties in this program, so I think it's a good way to go. So, thanks. Go ahead.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute the memorandum of understanding between the Geauga Soil and Water Conservation District, the Geauga County Planning Commission, and the Geauga County Board of Commissioners regarding the Ohio Local Agricultural Easement Purchase Program, LAEPP.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Those 2 parts, did you read both parts?
No, she just read 18. Did we
And
make?
19 now is the application, and,
has to be put into now, which I need to, how we want to do that.
yeah, the deadline for us.
Yeah, we've got to email it, we have to put the packet together, so I don't know if you want me to do that, or, it doesn't matter, but we need to talk. Okay.
Well,
Before I
I'll pass this down to
leave.
you.
You're the expert on
Can I read
this.
those to you?
Yep.
If I can get the original document,
Yeah,
I'll
Yeah.
take care of it.
all right, yeah, if you can hang around for a couple.
I will.
Well, we're going to be in executive session, so
Can she-
Debbie can probably pull it all
Okay.
together.
And I have to sign that application too, so.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I decided to do it.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and authorize the President of the Board to execute the Ohio Department of Agriculture Office of Farmland Preservation application for local sponsor certification.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Just for your knowledge, you're looking at the document right there. This is the application. With that application, there is 2 attachments that are going to be with this. And one is the county land use plan, where it cites that farmland preservation, Geauga County's farmland preservation plan, and we're actually attaching that too. So they required that was, you had it somewhere in your county plan as a priority or something that you wanted to address in the county. So that will be attached to this incident.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And before we go into executive session, I may want to bring up the item with NOACA real quick. I've been requested by, you go ahead, Lee. Sorry. This has nothing to do with you, although
Not
you and I
yet.
can talk about that later.
I know, so.
We know what they want to do with the land use.
Yes.
Oh, boy. I am going to give you a call, by the way, Carmel, I have a question for you later, so.
Okay.
Um,
I'll wait.
We do have a set of bylaws that require ratification on the part of this board. And so we did a public information request as a result of some conversations I've been having with yet another attorney outside of anybody engaged. She's been doing this, providing me some input. And he's an expert on MPOs. But apparently, if we look at the meeting minutes, there's never been a ratification of a change of board makeup by this commission that we've got a record of here. And so we're making a public information request to NOACA for any record that they have that we've ever ratified the board change, the board shift. At one time in 1976, there was a board makeup that was completely balanced. 6 people from every county, with the exception of Cleveland, they got their mayor. And so in 1976, that shifted to something else. And it didn't appear that we had any, we ratified those bylaws at that time. And so we're making a public information request in that regard before we make a determination, I guess, relative to this particular bylaw change. And so we have to weigh in and vote yes or no. If we vote no, then the bylaws will be not be
Stay as
ratified,
is,
they'll
yeah.
stay as is, and so on and so forth. Also in that context, we've not paid our dues yet to NOACA, and in order for us to maintain our ability to be able to vote those bylaws up and down, it probably would be a good thing for us to go ahead and pay our dues. And so I'm gonna make a motion that we pay our dues, so that we maintain our rights under the current situation. So,
How much is it?
it's, the total is $35,000.
What's the total?
I think it's
No,
35.
it's,
35,
well, I think
32.
Water Resources pays it. Well, I have 2 bills here. One is for the engineer, and by our MOU with the engineer, you guys pay that. That's $95.32. And then the bill for the commissioners is $15,887.
So the total is from both organizations.
And you pay some?
And then,
No.
No,
Oh,
no.
no, water resources.
Water
I'm
Resources
sorry, I'm
pays
sorry.
separately.
Yeah, Water Resources.
Uh,
And I have to advise them to pay, because I wasn't sure what the board wanted to do, so I told Jerry, hold off on that until,
And what do those dues go for?
well, it's partially offsetting their costs of running that administrative office.
And what's the, what is the salary of the director of that organization?
$180,000, thereabouts. I mean, we all have had issues with NOAC and what they're doing. You know, they've recently decided that they're gonna tie land use planning to roads, to give them the authority to move into a regional land use plan, which impacts zoning and impacts a lot of other things. They're in the process, and Carmella and I, and the Soil and Water Department and the Health Department have had many conversations about their water quality strategy, regional quality strategy to put together. So there's certainly efforts being made
And
across the board.
that's where I think that's where, you know, there's unfortunately not a vehicle in place to give the general public knowledge of that public overspend with, you know, the director making $180,000 a year with an incredibly large staff of people to basically, you know, continue to do this when I think that you know, when you've got a lot of other critical positions, you know, both on the public sector and in the government sector that pay a whole lot less with a whole lot more responsibility in the sense of accountability and really, you know, some serious stuff. And I guess, I think that we all probably sit here and shake our heads in agreement with this, but it's just, it's unfortunate that the public is never really made aware in some way, some shape of saying, you know, wake up, because this is going on in front of
The
us.
difficulty here
It's very
is,
complicated.
yeah, the difficulty here is, I think we can all understand that if you're not a member of an organization, then you can't vote in it.
Right.
And if a requirement to be a member in that organization is that you're a member in good standing by having your dues paid, makes it hard to argue that.
I mean, we
The
have,
truth is, we're gonna pay that money, we're gonna,
I get it.
vote in whatever method we vote. I can't say that, I can imagine what it'll be. And we're still not gonna get any money for the roads. So it's like saying, well, for the $20,000 or something for ours and the engineer's share, or whatever that total was, I mean, it's like, well, buy some asphalt to fill a chuck hole.
I
I just-
think, you know, the thing that frustrates me, and Skip is a real expert on NOACA, but my understanding is these metropolitan planning organizations, MPOs, that's what NOACA is kind of been put into law through federal law on how you handle transportation projects. So we have a Republican Senate, a Republican House, And if they chose to prioritize this, they could say, we're gonna look at different ways to fund infrastructure projects, and one of the ways we could get more pavement done would be to start looking at some of these bureaucracies and say, do we really need to operate in this inefficient manner? That's just my opinion.
Well, the whole MPO structure is a disaster. Regionalism is a disaster. Regionalism does not work. It wastes a lot of money, and it is dysfunctional in and of itself, just the concept of regionalism. But with respect to this particular issue, we have a decision we can make, and we can make application, and we'd have to get it approved by the governor to leave NOACA. That's an option. At that point in time, we give up we have a very small urbanized area in Chestnut and Bainbridge, that corridor. We would give up any dollars relative to, or asking for any dollars, but we're not receiving anything anyway today. That's an option. Or, right now, this is on the table. If we want to maintain our ability to be able to push back on this, we have to pay our dues. And so I'm going to suggest we do. I'll just give you a heads up. If we vote not to ratify those bylaws, then we will have a legal situation, because they will either take us to federal mitigation and/or we'll have a fight in court. I don't know what their basis.
They being the city of Cleveland.
They being NOACA. And so there will be a legal battle coming, and I'll just give you a heads up. I'm predicting that.
My understanding, they have to represent us.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean, it
sure
would
how
be,
that
well,
works,
if by your action, this doesn't get, NOACA then is making a decision not to go along with this, wouldn't it be the city of Cleveland that'd be the
Yeah,
issue?
Yeah,
the city of Cleveland will have to sue
Yeah.
NOACA.
Right.
And I'm not a lawyer, but I asked the questions, and I'm told that because we are a member of NOACA, by paying that dues, that then they have an obligation to represent us and fund a lawyer for us. Now, I don't know that it'll be a good one, or that his argument will be very persuasive, but
I think kind of the fundamental issue here, just to clarify, and that's why we did the public records request, is once upon a time when NOACA was formed, the representation was more like a senatorial model. In the United States Senate, each state gets 2 senators. The congressional model is based on population. Well, that's what NOACA over the years has morphed toward, a population-based model. So the 3 seats that are on that board, actually, that's a higher proportion of representation percentage-wise. That's 3 seats divided by a current 45 members is a higher fraction than our fraction of population compared to the 2 million plus in the 5 counties that are in NOACA. So, but that's what we want to see. How did it go from the senatorial model where we had a little more equity to being strictly, it's all based on population, and kind of the county itself has a voting majority, and everyone else gets the short end of the stick.
By the way, Deb just brings up a good point relative to us maintaining our voting rights and so forth. We paid our 2016, and I think that takes us through the end of the year, probably the ratification process. Is that true or no?
No, I read something yesterday, just it's relating to the state fiscal year, which began July 1st. If we're 3 months late on the state fiscal year, which, so we're being billed for the state fiscal year started July 1, so now we're over 3 months late.
Okay, so we would
Backdate
probably
the
want to
check.
do that.
Backdate the check. Smudge the envelope up.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor that we pay the dues.
I'll second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Now we got one more item of business, session, number 20.
Yes.
Commissioner's office is requesting the board move into executive session for the purpose of discussing the discipline of a public employee at the Department of Job and Family Services.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier? Commissioner Claypool?
I'll have Executive Director Craig Swenson in there, and include myself and the commissioners.
So, Job and Family Services is requesting the board to.
We have to come back from executive
Yeah, we gotta
session.
come back.
We've got to come back into public session at 10:41.
Okay. the Department of Job and Family Services is requesting the board to accept the disciplinary recommendation of the Director of Job and Family Services to suspend Michelle Bruntar, eligibility specialist 2, for 8 hours, 1 working day, without pay for violation of Section 3 of Geauga County Job and Family Services Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual for unsatisfactory job performance, non-completion of assigned duties, and neglect of duty. And further, approve and authorize the board to execute the order of removal, reduction, suspension, involuntary and disciplinary separation form per ORC 124.34 for 8 hours, 1 working day.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier? And Commissioner Claypool.
Where am I signing?
Just under.
Under Ralph here.
Yep.
If there's no further business, I move to adjourn. Do we get a copy of that?
After our next meeting, I'll see you guys around 3 o'clock.